For over a quarter of a century, a North Florida conservation group has worked to protect thousands of acres from development. The work is chronicled in a new book, and here to tell us about it is Sarah Handy with the North Florida Land Trust. She's also the principal author of the new book, Keeping North Florida Wild. Sarah, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me and having us.
Yeah, congrats on the new book. So for those that don't know, remind us what the North Florida Land Trust is and what it does.
Okay, so North Florida Land Trust is a land trust, but basically we work to conserve land. So we will work with, we will either purchase land outright for conservation, we will help facilitate that between maybe a partner and a landowner, or we will hold a conservation easement on a piece of property. But it's all meant to protect the land and keep it in its natural state and perpetuity.
And so the group has been together for 25 years, and in the last couple years has really had just like some big successes in terms of large parcels that you've been able to acquire or put under some sort of conservation easement. And that's not easy work. I mean, you're working with a variety of players with a variety of interests. Is there a single strategy that you employ to try to get those lands out of the path of development?
No, there's not a single strategy. You have to be creative, and it's every transaction is different, and it's a lot about relationships, and it's actually all about relationships and making sure that all the players at the table are very comfortable. But you really do have to be creative and ready to pivot, because no two transactions are alike.
The group seems to have been successful at knitting together. This isn't like a group of tree huggers, who are at war with the larger community or even developers. It really is a much more collaborative approach.
Oh, absolutely.
And it seems like, and the book also chronicles, working with local communities to sort of help them develop an individual path to conservation that gets community buy-in and doesn't create like any sense of alienation. I think of what the work you've done in Nassau County particularly, which has been successful.
It has been. And we were very excited when we started working with Nassau County, and the voters approved that referendum with 68% of the votes.
For land conservation money.
Land conservation money. And then $30 million of general obligation bonds were allocated towards that. And CLAM stands for Conservation Lands Acquisition and Management. And we also worked with Clay County, and voters passed that at 73% in November 2024. And we just completed work with Highlands County. So this really enables it, not only kind of furthers our mission of land conservation and protecting that which makes Florida so special and unique, but it enables these counties to create their own green prints, which are land conservation programs.
Oh. Well, this book is gorgeous, and I know that people who are watching our online stream can see some of the pictures. I know that some of them were contributed, some were taken professionally, but they really chronicle just like the most irreplaceable places in Florida. And I guess it is partly a reminder of that. But you put this together and, obviously no small task. You had some help from people. Our own local columnist, Mark Woods, wrote an afterword. Clay Henderson, who's a very well-known attorney, land use attorney, or kind of environmental attorney, wrote an introduction. What is the message? Like, what are you trying to convey with this book? And what does the 25th anniversary signify for the group?
The 25th anniversary, it could be even, it's a turning point. We grew, I mean, as if you read the book, you can see like our first year we protected, or the first couple years we protected 1,000 acres. Now we're at almost 44,000 acres. It chronicles the journey of growth, but it's also it's a tool to help people really understand what we do and why what we do impacts them and their quality of life. It might seem like a forest out in the middle of Central Florida, doesn't really impact, you who live in Ortega Forest or something, but it really does. So we're all interconnected. So this book is an opportunity to educate people about what we do and how it might impact them.
And so a lot of this land is conserved, not necessarily publicly accessible. That's not necessarily the goal of the land trust, but there is a local parcel and there are some parcels that have been made open to the public. Bug Tussle, which is here in Northeast Florida, has a great history and is now a very very accessible site and a really
It
beautiful
is.
marshfront one,
Yep, and now it's called Bogey Creek Preserve.
right?
And Bug Tussle was the family name that the Spencers gave the property, and as you can read all about in the book. And then we also have a portion of the Florida Trail that goes through our Smith Lake Preserve. And our vision looking forward is to open more of our properties to so there is more public access. A number of our properties are still in active restoration right now, and once we complete that process, which sometimes can take years, we'll have more opportunities to open properties to the public. But, restoration, we do prescribed burns, we do plantings, we harvest invasives. So there's a lot of times it doesn't allow for public access.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful book. We have a link to it on our website. Sarah Handy, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.